And it's that time, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of Men on Scandal. Yes, you've been waiting with bated breath. We're here for you, baby. Minus one. It's a party of two today. Tony Scott not with us. Mark Clark is in New York. I'm in Washington, D.C. And, man, we're getting close to the end of this season. And, you know, this is when all the bells and whistles come popping out, and we start to get some answers. And that's what happened in this episode, which I believe was called A Few Good Women.
Yeah.
So it starts off with Jake flashing back to that chokeout he was getting. And then we see him in Olivia's bed. She's taking care of him. Or is she? She's not giving him that tussin. But
yeah. She seemed very distant, very very cold for someone who almost died. I mean, Jake was, I don't get it.
Right. Yeah, she turned into this is a platonic situation. I'm just making sure you're okay. Here's a cup of tea,
Did she throw the remote, man?
She may have tossed the remote.
What the hell?
I don't get it. I don't understand why she, well, we've talked about that before. She treats him like a stepchild, but, and he likes it, apparently. Now, as she leaves the apartment, she tells him, I'll be back a little bit later. She glances over to this door next door, which is where, all the shenanigans seem to be happening right across the hallway. That is where Russell is. Russell is getting tortured by Huck and Quinn, and you should have known something was going on with this episode when they said parental discretion advised. They put the disclaimer on the front. That could be to get the chopping.
I should have known not to have them chips. I was enjoying my chips. And then that first a fingernail came off and kind of ruined my appetite.
Yes, they were taking off fingernails because they're trying to find out about Foxtail. What is Foxtail? We're going to get a big revelation out about that later on in the evening. And, of course, Russell, despite losing those nails, is not he's not saying anything. So now we flash to Vice President Ross. She's doing her ceremonial duties. She's aboard a Navy ship and is kind of getting a lay of the land and was being introduced to the sailors. And she sees a young woman who gives her a salute and notices that she has a bruise on her arm. Her name is Ensign Morton. She's going to be a big part of this episode. She kind of asked her to be escorted off to the side with the ensign. And then she's like, oh, what's up? What's going on with that arm? Yeah. She said it's from a training exercise.
That's pretty plausible.
What was she doing? I mean,
you throwing them hands,
man. That was a very nasty bruise on her saluting hand. So she said that I don't believe that. It's not a part of a training exercise. I've seen an injury like that. It reminds me of college. I'm actually going to take you off the ship. Which, of course, what are you doing? That's what Fitz and Cyrus are saying. You don't have any authority to do anything like this. This is a situation that has to be handled by the Navy. But she says, look, I think this woman was raped. So, of course, this is going to be the centerpiece of the conversation. Back to the torture chamber. And, they're still torturing Russell throughout this episode. He gets a break here and there, and then they come back with more pain. Not as much. Go ahead.
Sure, the torture session brought to you by Home Depot. So that's good.
Right. It's funny. When all's said and done, we really just saw a fingernail come off.
Yeah.
I thought we were going to see a little bit more. I thought it was going to be a lot more, Huck is going to get into his tool bag and really make it happen. Of course, Quinn itching to take some teeth since she's had some teeth pulled.
I like when Olivia thinks when she does tough talk that everybody shakes in her boots, but almost nobody shakes in Olivia's boots when she does that tough talk. Oh, you're going to wish you were dead. Okay. Thank you.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be. We don't believe it at all. We don't believe it. Now, Elizabeth and Mellie have a conversation. She's running for Senate, of course, as we all know. She's 3 points down. Elizabeth says, you need to go to Springfield and make a speech, especially with all of this, this kind of circulating about something happening in the Navy. And Mellie, of course, doesn't want to go to Springfield because that's where her son was killed.
Yes.
And Elizabeth wants her to speak in the same venue where she saw her son killed. And, of course, Mellie's not having that.
Now, Mellie got to do her tough talk.
Right.
Let me tell you one doggone thing,
Right. She's like, hey, you're going to get a big turnout of women. It's about you defining yourself as different from your husband. This is your big shot. Of course, you're right, Elizabeth. But Mellie is thinking about the fact that you just basically drawn up all of these emotions that she had before about missing her son quite naturally. So she tells her to get out of the office.
And she should have mentioned that they have an amazing Amish market there.
Do they?
With the best banana bread you'll find in Virginia. Yes, sir.
Man, I love banana bread.
See?
My mother used to make that when I was a kid. Banana bread is delicious. So Olivia tells the ensign, I can get you some justice. Now, for people that are unfamiliar, because this was all about, somebody called this it's called A Few Good Women, but it did kind of make you think about that Tom Cruise movie, A Few Good Men. Suddenly people thrust into an environment that, if you're a scandal watcher, you may not be familiar with the military, so you had to get all the backstory. I can get you justice doesn't really make sense to a naval officer because she's used to regulations and rules, and there's a protocol. And here comes Olivia with her white coat on, like I'm going to save the day, and it doesn't really seem like that's going to be the situation that's going to work out. Now, Olivia and Abby have a conversation. Abby didn't really. She knows about the situation with the ensign, but she's more concerned with what's going on at your house. So you got Jake laying up in your house right now,
right?
And what happened to the other guy? What happened to Russell?
I liked him.
I liked him a lot. Yeah. And of course, naturally, Olivia is not saying anything.
Nothing.
Yeah, nothing at all. Is it wrong for Abby to continue to try to push to be Olivia's BFF?
Yes.
She needs to stop that. That's not
it's sad.
They can't be girlfriends.
No, she don't want to be your friend.
Not gonna happen. Okay, all right. Olivia's decided she's gonna go after the Navy to help the ensign. I'll get you. I'm gonna get you. So she calls for a civilian trial, which of course doesn't happen in the Navy, doesn't happen in the military. They have their own form of military justice. There are trials. There's a JAG Corps, which is Judge Advocate General, in all branches of the military. So they internally handle criminal offenses in their own courtrooms. So she's asking for something that is impossible. 200 years of military history. Now Olivia wants to come along and switch it all up.
A Birkin bag and a white coat ain't gonna fix this, Olivia.
It's not gonna work. Fitz is like, you're out of your freaking mind. This is not going to happen. The Secretary of Defense is going to handle this situation. And again, it will be handled within the confines of the Navy.
He was like, hey, man, rape is a part of the whole military experience in America.
which was actually mentioned as kind of a, what did they say? It was is that a combat scenario?
Yeah, a combat injury.
I was like, ooh, that's ugly. That doesn't make any sense.
That was not a bullet that injured me.
Well, what was it? A torpedo? What was it? Anyway, Russell is being tortured again. What is foxtail? And Russell's like, you know what? I got something for y'all. I'm about to be out right now. He tries to bite his cyanide capsule, and this is where it kind of gets. This is where it could have taken a gruesome turn, because Huck stops him from biting down on the capsule. He knew what he was going to do. He knew he was going to take some kind of poison, and he was able to snatch it out of his mouth just in time.
Yeah, that last time you saw somebody do that face Russell did was when your uncle had some greens at the cookout last summer.
What face was that, man? A little bit of gristle.
Russell looked like he just needed a toothpick.
That's all I need, man. Can't get a hold of this. A little flavor saver for later. Now, Jake has a conversation with Olivia. What's going on? Why do you have blood on your jacket? Olivia walks into scenarios with Jake and other people too, where she just assumes it's like the Mindy Kaling commercial. Have you seen a commercial where that commercial where they go and suddenly she believes that she's invisible?
Yes,
that's Olivia. That's Olivia Pope. Doody doo. Nobody knows what I'm up to. Everybody knows what you're up to. And Jake, of all people, is smart enough to figure out there's somebody across the hall getting tortured. You know, the walls are kind of thin in this apartment. What's really going on? So Jake eventually, he basically says, Russell's not your average B613 agent. And essentially, your father, Rowan, built a better me when he built Russell.
He built a black version of me.
He did.
With more muscles and more staying power.
Apparently, yes. And, you're not going to be able to torture. You're not going to get any information out of him because he's been trained. This is what he does. It's what I do. A military inquiry gets underway in the ensign's rape allegation, and she says it was Admiral Holly.
Dang.
The 4-star admiral who is a key leader in the Navy at this particular time.
And this is when he gets a chance to do his Jack Nicholson speech.
Yes.
What is it, Troy?
I sit on a wall where Cubans are trained to kill me.
Get it, boy. Get it, son.
Yeah, so
that's pretty good, man. You're on point, baby.
I try, man. I try. So now this inquiry begins, and since this is kind of it's not the conventional Navy court situation. It's really more this kind of overview of what these potential parties may have and their involvement may have been before we go to the next step. So the Navy sends an attorney from the JAG Corps. And this guy doesn't seem very well put together.
He's a little cornball. He's
a bit cornball-y, kind of, stumbling, not quite familiar with what he needs to do. And as the inquiry gets underway, the admiral, of course, quite miffed that he even has to be in a room answering questions from some woman named Olivia Pope, who is essentially a barnacle on the ass of America.
Damn.
Damn. You haven't heard barnacle in a long time. Damn.
And actually that's being investigated because she thought it was the same as calling her a thug, which is, what that means. So you can't say thug anymore when referring to us or barnacle.
Barnacle is the 18th century thug. That's an old English term. Now, the admiral says he didn't have sex with the woman. And now, the ensign is feeling the pressure. Now all eyes are on her. She's essentially been sequestered on the ship that she was on. And she's like, look, I need to get out of here. I want to have an abortion.
Damn.
And Olivia's like, that's the proof.
Damn.
What you need to do is just hold off for a while, because then we can essentially get a DNA sample and then this is it's a open and shut case.
Can't we get that already, Troy? I mean, if you got a baby up in you, can't you get some DNA going?
That seems logical to me.
2015? Damn.
Maybe. I mean, or why not just get 2 blood tests?
And you do not want to have a child with that jug-headed brother.
No, that's not the move.
He would kill all the cuteness she had.
I was like, I don't know about Olivia's advice. This doesn't. I mean, legally that makes a lot of sense, but the emotional aspect of what this woman is going through.
Yeah,
you tell her to hold on.
Well, Olivia's waiting all these years for her getaway with Fitz, so I guess she's like,
just hang on, girl. Vermont is around the corner. What's this got to do with? What's this got to do with my abortion? Jake goes across the hall to visit Russell and brings a bag with a couple of beers in it. It's a beer summit, Mar.
Yes.
They had a beer summit. So essentially, obviously there's tension between the two of them because Russell attempted to kill Jake. And now they're sitting here, in an awkward situation. He only unties one of Russell's hands because he's afraid that, this guy really could get loose and finish the job that he didn't finish.
Mm.
After they start breaking through a little bit, they start feeling comfortable with each other because they start talking about B613. And essentially, 2 things come out of this conversation. Rowan is a psychopath, but he's also a father figure to both of them.
Mm.
So you kind of get a little bit of insight into how B613 personnel are trained. They're hand trained by Rowan. He's involved at every step, challenging them, using psychological warfare on them to get them primed to be the very best that they can be. And they start talking about command, and essentially they complement each other. Jake compliments Russell. Russell says that Rowan talks about you all the time. You were the best one that ever did it.
Damn.
So this is really kind of a weird, awkward conversation that they're having because you see that they have so much in common, but they're obviously opposed. They're obviously on 2 different kinds of missions.
Well, and it was weird when Russell kind of cracked on Jake. He said, "Your hair's uneven and not cute."
Right. Yes. So it was really weird. Ultimately, Russell knows he still has a mission to complete, and Jake is essentially agreeing with him, and says that you getting caught by Olivia is the plan.
That's the plan.
This is the plan. So you see that Rowan is integrally. I hope that said that right.
Go ahead, son. Do your thing, buddy.
And you see, jogging ties. No, he is in. It's all about the chess match between Rowan and Olivia.
Yes.
But Rowan is manipulating Olivia so much behind the scenes that essentially, whenever she lets her guard down, bam, he's in there to make it happen. To remind her, I'm in charge. Is that a good analogy?
Good analogy. And I think, it's his way. It's his way of protecting her, which is interesting.
Is he protecting her?
Yeah, I think it's his way of protecting / controlling, but really protecting. I think. Controlling. It's the same to him.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It's basically the same to him.
I get the sense that really, if Olivia had a shot at this point, she really would kill him.
Yeah, it'd be tough. Yeah, I don't know.
You don't think so?
I think in theory she would, but it is her daddy, So I guess his hate for Fitz really is just because, in addition to being, who he is, he doesn't have any control over Fitz, I guess.
Mm.
And I thought for sure that was a great moment. They reminisced on command, and I thought for sure Jake was going to put one in the dome.
Yes, he had his gun handy. but I guess he was just getting up to leave. So he leaves Rowan where he was. So now the ensign, Russell. The ensign is confined to the ship after this inquiry started, and they're trying to figure out. She wants to get this abortion. Olivia is trying to figure out how to get around all these hoops that the military has. So the only thing they come up with is if she had a sick relative, she could leave the ship. That's the plan that they get on. Of course, they take her directly to Olivia's house. Now, back to Mellie. She doesn't like the speech that Elizabeth put together for her because essentially it's talking about her son's death to try to connect with voters. Now, how soon we forget about Smelly Mellie.
Yeah, yes.
I think anything along this line of conversation could trigger, a flashback. I think she's just getting out of a deep depression, eating fried chicken all over the place, and not bathing for weeks on end.
Damn.
She pulled herself together. She got out of that. But
that sounds like my lifestyle.
That's how you roll, man. That's why we do this, ladies and gentlemen. If you're wondering why we do this show via social media, because Mark don't shower.
Order chicken coming in at 3:00.
Yes, indeed. So anyway, that could. I thought I was like, I don't know. This might not be a good move for Mellie because it's going to bring out those old emotions. Now, inevitably, you got to have a phone call between Olivia and Fitz. So she goes to the president. She's going every end around that she possibly can to avoid the rules that the Navy has in place. I can't see any evidence. And Fitz is like, what you want me to do? I can't change the rules. This is out of my purview. I can't do that. She says the situation is wrong that this young woman is going through. And then that's where she mentions this combat scenario with rape. Rape is equivalent to a combat injury, which, again, is crazy. Both of them agree ultimately on this conversation that their jobs suck. And that's kind of how they leave it.
That was her first laugh connection with Fitz.
Yes. Yeah, they had it was a little tender moment there, a little, reminiscing kind of moment.
Ah, yes.
The good old days. Now, the ensign has an abortion, which I thought was quite interesting, even to be depicted on television.
Yes.
I don't recall ever seeing anything like that on TV, where essentially they turn the machine on and the vacuum is on, and basically that probably is a little much for some people, especially folks that. I started thinking about anybody who's ever had to deal with that kind of situation. Certainly that's tough to see on television.
Ooh, don't bring that up.
Don't bring it up. Now, Mellie tells Fitz that she's worried about Springfield and reflecting on the fact that her son would be 17 now.
Damn.
And, she's struggling with what do I say about this? Fitz is trying to be the supportive husband that he has been lately since she's running for office. But then in a subtle pimp move, Fitz says, I can tell you what Olivia would tell you to do. And Mellie is like, okay, what would she say? What?
Well, and even the call from, you say the Olivia call. So I was running late. She was like, really, okay, what is going on?
Yeah, what's up with that?
Every married man is like, wait a minute.
Yeah, this interesting. So Fitz tells Mellie that Olivia said, call me out on this whole Navy situation. I'm not handling it properly. And that's where you make the difference, that you're not going to rubber stamp what the president has to say. You're your own woman, Mellie. So, that seems to be the decision that she's going to go with. Now, while all that's going on, Fitz manages to get Olivia the security records. That's what she was looking for. She wanted to know where the admiral was on that base at the time when this woman was raped.
The only bad thing about Olivia and Fitz's relationship is I think the fantasy portion does make some side pieces think that, the love is deep and strong, like Fitz's love for Olivia. When, for the most part, unless you're married to somebody, you ain't getting all that.
Oh, that's not going to happen?
Yeah, Olivia is the world's most amazing side piece. Good gracious.
Man, you went directly to the terminology side piece.
Yes.
I don't know. I mean, she is, I guess. I mean, is a mistress.
Isn't she the most powerful? Yes, mistress.
It's funny that you say that, Mark, because it's kind of hard to really put the official title on what she is, because there is so much interaction between the two of them.
Yeah.
She's almost, she almost might not be a side piece because she could be the wife at some point.
Well, but isn't that the trick, Troy?
That's a trick, but Fitz bought the house. There's a house. There's a receipt. He provides information. I mean, it's almost more like two wives.
Yeah.
She's like, since this episode is got a military theme. Melly's a first lieutenant. Olivia's a second lieutenant. Both of y'all got a little bit of rank, but I outrank you. But you still get some privileges.
And she's on the fast track, so who knows? You're right.
She could become the captain. Who knows? So she gets those security records. The admiral was there where he said he was supposed to be, but the aide was not. So this confused me a little bit, Mark, because Olivia then pointed at the captain, the admiral's aide, and says, "Well, you're the one who raped her, because your tag is nowhere to be found on the security record." But then the admiral essentially confesses.
Yeah. No, well, she said basically you're always with him, and so your tags, nowhere. So, is that what you said? You're right. So if he's always with him,
right?
Okay, so he's always with him, and his tag wasn't found,
right?
So you were using his tag.
There we go.
But why didn't he use his own tag?
Right. I got lost.
Yeah,
I got lost. I'm sure our wonderful fans will clear me up on that. Let me be honest. I was doing something else. I had a couple of things, and I was writing notes nearly by candlelight. I felt like George Washington, and I was lost on that. But then ultimately, the admiral confesses. So not the lieutenant, but the incident is vindicated. So now Melly gives a speech about Fitz's reaction to the Navy situation, and she does in fact do what Olivia suggested. She makes a clear separation between, I love my husband, but he's wrong on this one.
I gotta tell you,
he's wrong. Melly knocks the speech out of the park, and it looks like it was well received, and so Melly may have put herself back in the race. Now, Huck gets drugged by the JAG officer, Virgil, and he takes Russell out of the house. So it turns out Virgil isn't really an attorney. He's B613.
Damn it.
And they snatch Russell out of the house. What's up with that?
I don't know. I know I'm looking at Huck kind of Huck has a couple of shaky moments this episode.
Yeah.
Number one, you let Quinn handle the torture, basically, which I don't know. And then, like you said, number two, you turned your back on a stranger. Come on, man.
Yeah.
You are B613. Come on.
And it seemed like, it's funny you mentioned that Quinn was going to handle that torture session, and Huck kind of was laying back, kind of enjoying it. It's like his freak came out. His freak flag came out.
It's like a football game.
Yeah. I don't know. So now Mellie is giving this speech, and she's on to another meeting. She walks in the room, and you hear an agent say, "Foxtail is secure." And they go inside the room. Dun dun dun. Mellie is about to enter a meeting with Rowan.
Wow.
Rowan has a Cheshire smile on his face.
Yes.
Because essentially we now know Foxtail is Mellie.
And damn, she never met Rowan before?
Yeah, that seemed a bit odd.
All these years?
Well, maybe they should have met. She would have known to not have a meeting with him.
Very distinguished looking brother in DC, you know what I'm saying?
I think Foxtail is Mellie in honor of Tony. Foxtail, huh? Okay. Foxtail. So now Mellie, I guess, is going to be the bait.
Well, it makes for an exciting season finale.
Yes, the season finale is next week, and I'm sure all our questions will be answered. And really, what's going to happen with the direction of the show? So now it's going to be Rowan versus Fitz, with Olivia on Fitz's side. I mean, Fitz ain't going to have this,
Yeah, this is a nice setup, though. It's a nice setup. She brought us back.
Yes, the showdown. So you were happy with this episode? Did it move along for you? Was it enjoyable?
Yeah, I think the super coldness of Olivia towards Jake. Once again, as I say every episode, Troy, I think I've said, poor Jake.
Yes.
The fact that Jake did not take out Russell was shocking to me, because he knows that, he's going to take him out. You know what I'm saying? It's like, if you have a formidable foe like him, you need to get rid of him. And Jake knows better. Tisk, 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 Jake.
That's right. You get that chess piece off the board.
Right. Get it off the board. Like you say, Huck was sloppy this episode. The president and his wife have a very interesting relationship at this point. It's kind of cute, to see them lovey-dovey ish, and still saying Olivia's name. Very interesting. Yeah, kind of freaky when you think about it.
I mean, she's the elephant in the room, and they're Republicans.
Yeah. You know what that means?
Yeah. What does that mean?
I don't know.
Anyway, that's another episode of Men on Scandal. And get ready, y'all, for the finale coming up next week. Hopefully with all three of us, we'll be in the house for that one.
Good job, Troy. This is amazing. The light-skinned gene allows one to be gone, but the other light-skinned brother can absorb. It's amazing. Who knew?
Hey, man, we got to stick together. We're coming back in 2015.
And back. We sat at the feet of Tony for so long. We all are such, we've absorbed Tony for so long that, that's what happens, I guess,
That's right. We're like the Borg. We're like the Borg, one falls off, the next one steps up. Next man up.
Our big brother, Tony Scott.
That's right. So that's it for this week. Now, of course, there's several things that you can do. Of course, you need to go to menonscandal.com. You can watch all of the final episode, or all of the episodes that we've done this season, to get caught up for the big finale next week.
And Tony, Troy, a lot of people, for whatever reason, this season, they've been missing. So it's a great way and a very quick way to get caught up, not have to watch all the shows, but really get a good take.
And a laugh.
Yeah, a laugh.
Maybe some laughs up in there too.
Because there were a couple episodes when Olivia was lost that it wasn't that funny to watch, actually.
Yeah, exactly. That's why we're here. Now, and you could also get Men on Scandal gear. How about a Men on Scandal T-shirt? You can wear that on Casual Friday. Wear that to work.
Yes.
You know, that's hot right there. You can get a T-shirt, and you can also be a patron of the show for the low price of $2.99.
$2.99.
Support this great program in your own special way, either with an item that you can wear or a simple donation at patron.com. Anything else?
I think that's it, man. I apologize for the fuzzy screen. I don't know why I'm fuzzy, but hey.
Now you auto-tuned right at the end, too. Blame it on the That's nice, man. That's a nice touch.
Nice feature.
Yeah, I like that, man. All right, so for Tony Scott and T-Pain Mark Clark, I'm Troy Johnson. We will have another exciting episode of Scandal next week. Peace.